Stampers, it's Pat Fairless. I'm here with Learning with Friends today, and I have a fun technique for you. Um, I think you'll like it. The only concern, I don't know if concern is the right word, is it does require glossy cardstock. So I hope you have some glossy cardstock in your stash someplace. If not, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon or probably craft stores. So I'm calling the technique Magic Reveal. When I learned it, it was called Magic Snowflake, and they only used a snowflake stamp. So I didn't really want to call it Magic Snowflake because I wanted to try it with some other stamps. So let's go ahead and turn my camera down and get started. So for this technique, how's my lighting? Do I need? That looks a little bit better. Okay, so what you need for this technique is you need some cotton balls, and you need some Whisper White or white craft ink or pigment ink, any kind of pigment ink, but you want it to be white. You want some white embossing powder and a heat tool. And then we need some isopropyl alcohol. I'm using 91%. It seemed to work fine, so it's what I had, that's what I used. And like I said, we need glossy cardstock, and also we need some reinkers and a stamp. So I am actually I'm gonna show you with a couple different stamps the technique. So I'm gonna show you the technique twice. It's pretty quick and easy, so I think I have time to show it to you twice. And you want reinkers that it seems to work best if they're in the same color family. Although, experiment and try what you have and what colors you like to combine. I'm going to use for this first one Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm using snowflakes, so I'm going to use a snowflake from Sparkling Snowflakes, and I'm using the largest one, and I've got the detailed image as opposed to the solid image. I think either would work fine, but I liked the detailed one. So the first thing we need to do is on our glossy cardstock, we're going to rub it with our embossing buddy, okay? Because it is glossy, it can tend to have more static maybe than a normal one. I'm going to take my craft ink and just stamp this snowflake. And it's good to, you can kind of see if you've got craft ink. I don't use craft ink a lot. This is a photopolymer stamp, so I'm going to go ahead and put it here on my piercing mat. And I'm just going to stamp this in the center of the glossy cardstock. Now you do have to be a little bit careful because the glossy cardstock is slippery, so your stamp does tend to want to move around. If you have a stamp positioner of some sort, you can certainly use that. We used to have a Stamparatus, but we no longer have that. So you probably can't see that on there. It's very difficult to see with the white ink, but I'm just going to add some white embossing powder. I'll move this out of my way, and hopefully you can now see that that's on there. So I need to heat that and emboss it. So let me bring in my heat tool here. And I'm going to use my little tray, and I'm just going to emboss this here. Okay, that is now completely embossed. let it cool down just a tad here. And now comes the messy part. And I've been playing with this for a few days, and I did another technique today that was equally as messy. But what we're going to do with our cotton ball is I'm going to take my isopropyl alcohol, and I want to saturate about half of the cotton ball. So I just kind of put it on my lid and hold it there till I think it's about half saturated. It doesn't need to be dripping. And now we're going to take our re-inkers, and it doesn't matter the order. I have Lost Lagoon, that here handy, and we're just going to drop 2 drops of each of the color re-inkers onto the side with the alcohol. So that's Lost Lagoon, and here's Pretty Peacock. And I'll add 2 drops of Pretty Peacock. Okay. And now we are going to make an inky mess. And I am actually, I'll bring this in here to try to keep this a little bit clean. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to cover this completely. I'm going to dab it around. You can kind of twist it and turn it so you mix the colors up a little bit. And you just want to get this completely covered. Okay. And it looks like an inky mess. You can still see the image just a bit, but not a lot. And let me set this off to the side here. We are done with that. And now I'm going to bring my heat tool back, and I'm going to aim it at the center of this. And this is the magic. I hope you can see it. I'm just aiming it at the center, and the snowflake is appearing like magic, coming out of the inky mess. And then we're just going to try to dry it off. So let me bring that closer. Isn't that cool? That is the magic reveal. The snowflake is revealed, formerly called Magic Snowflake. But we're going to make one without a snowflake. But let me show you the card that I made using this. I cut this in a circle. Kept my card simple. And I have one more Christmas card made. So I just cut this with the deckled circle dies. This designer series paper here is the Snowflake Magic specialty paper. And there's a lot of snowflakes on here in Lost Lagoon. And then this is white, just with some silver. It looks kind of like a snowstorm. So I have the background embossed with the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. And these pretty gems here are from the Snowflake suite of products as well. So let me show you the inside. Kept that simple. I had a few scraps of cardstock, specialty cardstock left here, so I just decorated the bottom with those scraps and covered my envelope flap. So that is what was made with this. Isn't it pretty? Such a pretty technique. And so quick and easy, really. So I'm going to do one more for you. And I'll bring this back in here. Flip this over. And instead of snowflakes, I wanted to try to use something else. And I actually have 4 different cards to show you. And so hang around to the end and you'll see the others. The next card, though, that I'm going to make, or the technique sheet, I used the Season of Chic. And since we're kind of smack dab in the middle of fall here, our colors really aren't changing here yet in southeast Michigan. I think they are in northern Michigan. But I'm going to use these 2 leaves stamps. They look like oak leaves to me. And I'm just going to randomly stamp on here. And again, I need to take my embossing buddy This is an important step. And now I'm going to randomly stamp with these 2-leaf images. Make sure I'm in screen here. One of these is kind of a solid leaf. Not solid, but it's more solid. The other one's a line image. So I'm just going to kind of, and this is the hardest part. It's really hard to see where you've done this. So I kind of like to work my way up. So I'm going to use, this is a line image. And I might have to pick this up to see if I can see where it is. So we'll add this down here. And go ahead and cover the rest of this up. And I think about right here might work. Like I said, it's a little difficult to see. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm going to get a little bit more right down here and a little bit more right up here in this corner. It's just random. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. So let me see if I can pick this up. I'm not sure you can see that. It's honestly, it's difficult for me to see it here. I got these two a little close. I think I should put a little bit right down here, and let's use this one. That's a little more solid, and just get a little bit in here. Okay, let's go with that. Put my ink away and bring my embossing tray back in here. And let's cover this. All right, can you see that a little bit? I think now maybe you can see it if I get it in the light, just so. So now let's go ahead and heat emboss this. I'm going to use my tweezers this time because I do not have much space to hang on. And we'll try it without the tray. So here we go. We're just going to heat emboss this. Sorry for the noise. All right, that looks embossed. And I should tell you that I did try this with photo paper. The particular photo paper I had did not work well. When I heated it for the embossing, it tended to want to bubble up. So it was separating from the back sheet. There may be photo papers that would work. You can obviously experiment with those and have some fun. But my particular photo paper, it was not working well. So, all right, we're going to get another cotton ball here and saturate it about halfway again with the alcohol. I think if you get too much or not enough, I don't think the amount you get is super critical. A little bit more that time, I think. And the two colors I'm going to use for this are crushed curry and pumpkin pie. I thought those would be good colors for fall. And we're just going to take 2 drops of each on our cotton ball. This pumpkin pie, here we go, crushed curry. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to dab this all over this cardstock. And you can see if I were to do it all the same, you'd have all the same colors lining up. So I kind of move it around, rotate it a little bit. And I continue doing it until I get the color saturation that I want. Sometimes I could always add some more ink if I wanted to make it a little darker. I may add a drop of pumpkin pie on there. I want a little bit more orange. So let me just add one more drop of pumpkin pie. And I think I have more alcohol in this swab, so it's a little oversaturated with alcohol. Yeah, I like that little bit oranger. Okay, let me get this icky old cotton ball and see, you do get a little inky with this. And now I'm just going to take my heat tool again, and I'm going to aim it at the center and just aim it, and you'll start to see the leaves magically appear out of the inky mess. This card's a little bit bigger, so just move it around until the white really pops out from the mess. Isn't that fun? It is, and no two pieces are ever going to look alike. But it's fun to watch it just reappear out of the inky mess. Now, I could give you a couple hints relative to using ink colors. I did find it worked best if you kind of have colors in the same family, but like I said, experiment, play around. I also did find, I tried some with Melon Mambo's pinks, had Melon Mambo and Calypso Coral, I think, and the reds really tended to stain the white embossing. So the leaves, in this case, if I had used red colors, would have a pink tinge to them. They didn't come back to being real white. I think the reds stain, just like you get red ink on your fingers, you know, it's much harder to get off. Usually has to wear off. The other interesting thing I found was with some of the blues, I would tend to get some lavender tint on the white. And I'll show you a card where that you can probably see that. But here's my one with the autumn leaves. So this is my magic reveal with the leaves. And let me show you that card. This card is made with Them Bones designer series paper. I love this flat paper down here. And on the top, I used the Abundant Beauty masks and just used some Cajun craze on my blending brushes, and just the background you can see has leaves on it. But the focal point is basically our technique sheet. And again, you can see side by side, they all look a little bit different, right? So that is card number 2. So I've shown you how to use leaves, and I showed you the snowflake. I did make one other card with that same snowflake stamp set, sparkling snowflakes, On this one, I used the two smaller snowflakes. On the Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock, I used the larger one. On this one, I used these two smaller ones. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. My colors here were Blueberry Bushel and Misty Moonlight. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is one of them where there is some lavender in these snowflakes. If you look closely, there's just a little tint of purple. And I think it depends on the ink you use and what colors they use to make the inks. Some don't seem to stain the white embossing at all, others do. But I actually kind of like this in this case where it's a little bit on the lavender side. So that is my third card. And then my fourth card, I tried something totally different. This one is with purples, and I just used the Biggest Wish stamp set, and I used Happy. And on this one, I used Fresh Freesia and Gorgeous Grape. So again, they're in the same color family. And I thought that turned out kind of fun, and happy, 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 happy birthday. It's kind of a happy, pretty card, isn't it? So that's another idea of how to use this technique. And I kept the cards simple because you really want your focal point to be the technique after you do all that fun playing around. So that is that one. And those are my 4 cards to show you. So let me bring my camera back here. So I hope you like that technique. It was kind of fun. I hadn't done it for many years. It was one we did a long time ago, and I debated back and forth a bit, should I show it or not, because it does use glossy cardstock, and at Stampin' Up! We no longer sell glossy cardstock, but I thought that's all right. People still like to learn how to make different techniques, and you probably all have your own stash of supplies. And it's not like you can't get it, you just can't get it from Stampin' Up! Right now. So I hope you liked that. If you did, will you give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you get notices when I go live. And I hope you like those. So have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next week with something else. It may be something with inky fingers because I've been practicing something else. So we'll see how it works out. So have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.